I'm going to clarify with, again, these are not guys that I hate. I just think that they're being overdrafted for one reason or another. I know I'm going to get some hate for this, but it's Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. Now, we've seen the impressive measurables, right? 6'3", 241. We know what the 40 time is. Coming out as a junior, he's coming out early, 3 years at Oregon. He was efficient, but it's extremely limited volume. He's not a true focal point in an offense, especially an Oregon offense that threw the ball a ton. Athletic mover, yak ability definitely flashes, but limited target share, not dominant, not a producer, undersized for a traditional tight end role, which I think kind of limits his ability to get on the field for blocking roles. A little bit of role ambiguity. Like, he's not an elite blocker, not really an elite receiver. If you look at the numbers, right? Tight end buzz worthy, though. Like, people are in love with this guy. He's going top 15 in the NFL draft, almost certainly. But we don't see tight end one production. This isn't a Brock Bowers type production. People are betting on their projection over proven usage. So this is a fragile profile to me without elite volume. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a very, very good player. But I think the market's getting ahead of itself. And I think part of that is because of Sam Laporta, Brock Bowers, Tyler Warren, Colson Loveland last year. We're projecting him into a role that he hasn't shown yet in a consistent basis in his 3 years in college football. Not a dominant producer. We know what he did last year, 500 yards. Now, he did catch 8 touchdowns, so that's extremely efficient, as I mentioned. But he doesn't have a locked-in profile for me, and that's dangerous because if you're not earning these targets early, you're not on the field, especially as a rookie tight end, it will take several years to grow into that role.
I agree, man. I don't want to give away too much because tomorrow night's show, me and Mouth, Downtown Fanatics, little thing we do every week in the draft, are going to break down tight ends. So I don't want to give away too much information, but I will say this. Stowers is my number 1 tight end, and he's my number 2. And I do like Kenyon Sadiq. I think you like Kenyon Sadiq as well. And how can you not with the measurables? It's Vernon Davis is what it is. And he's decent. He's got decent hands. As a blocker, the pancake stuff is really real. Like when he lays on a block, he will finish the block. The problem is that if you're watching highlights of him, it looks great. If you watch game to game, it's not great. And you see him miss assignments. He's so young, he's so raw. It's Eric Ebron like type stuff. And we saw this from Kyle Pitts as well, right? Like it takes a while for most of these guys that are a little raw. And the 6'3" thing, this is why I have Stowers over me, 6'5". And Stowers is a better receiver. He's a better he comps as a guy that could be an all-time great in 3 years. But like he also could just end up being kind of a knucklehead out there that just, isn't the most polished with his routes. Like he's really loose with his routes, and his agility is elite, but his hips are not great. It's stiff. You can predict his routes. He can moss people for his size, but he's mossing college guys in the NFL. We'll see. Dean says Sadiq will go to the Panthers and score 3 touchdowns next year. That's a good destination.
I mean, I'm worried, like from fantasy, that he slips into that mid-range QB or tight end 2 range, right? Tight end 16 to 22, and that he'll be perennially interesting. People will be like, but look at what he did at the combine, but never really tight end 1 startable, right? That's what I'm worried about with this guy. So I don't hate him, and he is an incredible athlete. I'm just worried that this game translates to the next level. It might take several years.
Number 1 Spork score, or Spork or Spark, whatever it is, of all time. But also who's up there in that list? Noah Fant's up there in that list. That's a thing. And Noah Fant's done nothing. And he also went to tight end U. Noah Fant went to Iowa, so he was more pro-ready. And he's done nothing. I don't know if that's opportunity or situation or just like the stars aligning in a bad way. But was that your number 1 or number 10 story? Is that your most hated guy or least hated guy?
Least hated guy. So my 1 to 10 is least hated to most hated.
Got it. So we'll say this. My number 1 least hated player. This is an obscure one, so I might be cheating here. Is Desmond Reed out of Pitt, little scat back. The reason why. So he is, I think, RB17 on Draft Buzz, 5'6", 174. So I could see people getting enamored with like the Darren Sproles aspects, because as we know, Darren Sproles was like 200 pounds, like 5'6", 200 pounds, was a monster for his size. 4.38 speed. Watching his game film, the dude is slow as shit. I don't know how he's like the definition of a guy that's like really good at the 40, like good at the drill. But his play speed is he gets tackled from behind. If he gets touched, he's down. And I have him on the list because I don't think he's an NFL player. So he will get drafted because this draft actually is pretty light on actual scat backs. There's Damon Claiborne, who actually pretty has bad hands, but there's not many guys that like could play that third down role in the NFL. And he does, he could be that specialist. But this dude's not an NFL player, and that's why he's going to get drafted in like the 5th or 6th round. No way, no how. Too small, not fast enough. Really good hands, but like he does nothing with the ball in his hand after the catch. And like we've seen that kick returners now, like they're using bigger guys to do these kick returns. That's why Jajarian Price makes a lot of sense as a kick returner because he's fast enough. And like, dude, the Steelers threw out Caleb Johnson on kick returns last year, so they're not putting the really small guys. He's a better punt returner. And there's not as many punts being returned. There's not as many teams punting because of the field position rules, how you're starting on the 35 now. Like, teams are just going for it more. So there's just way less opportunity there. This guy's not an NFL player, and I just want to say I absolutely hate this guy.
I haven't seen you my whole life, and now you come back and just expect a relationship? I hate you. What?
Could I have a hug?
No.
Give me a hug.
No way.
Come here.
I'm not coming over.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Yeah. That's great. That's a great clip. God, those movies got progressively worse. What was I going to say? Yeah, Desmond Reed, obvious size concerns, obvious. Now, like his production in 24 was great. Big step back last year, but he dealt with injuries, right? Only 200, I don't know how many, like almost 300 yards rushing, 300 yards receiving. So that is a big question about whether, like, could Darren Sproles survive in today's NFL is the question. And, he's not Darren Sproles. He's not like the Darren Sproles production level that we saw in college. So I get it. I'm not opposed to that whatsoever.
All right, give me your number 2 players you hate.
Yeah, it's let me pull that back up. Demon Claiborne out of Wake Forest. You know this guy?
Yeah, I actually was good. At first, I loved him because his rushing ability is actually pretty good for his size. I was like, this guy has to be a great pass catcher because he comps as a scat back. And, he killed the combine. What did he run? A 4.33, 4.36, something like that. It's pretty good. And then I watched his all of his film, and he has stone hands. Like, I'm not going to draft a tiny running back that can't catch. That's it.
I mean, I actually am not terribly opposed to the receiving profile. He did have 28 yards or 28 receptions last year but only for 140 yards. So the average depth of target was less than ideal. Under 1,000 yards, his production took a step back. The thing is, like, he's 6. Excuse me, that's not the right one. Where did it go again? He's 5'10", 188. He's a senior. He spent his entire career at Wake Forest. Strong production, but this was in a very high volume spread system in a weaker conference. High touch volume, quickness, burst. I do like that. Should with that size. Pass catching ability. I like I said, I'm not opposed to that profile, but he's undersized for a 3-round NFL role. This is a lot of production that was inflated by the system at Wake Forest. And he lacks elite long speed. Like, he gets winded pretty easy. If you go back and watch some of the highlights of him breaking down in the second level, he gets tracked down pretty easily. This is volume driven. He's capped to me as a change of pace back, committee back, thin margin for fantasy relevance without that touchdown upside. Production does pop. I mentioned that, but it's very volume driven. And the question is, what's the role when he enters the NFL? Does his game translate to the next level at the NFL? And if he's a committee back and he doesn't get the goal line work, it's hard to see consistent fantasy ceiling for. So for me, yeah, I'm overall worried about this guy. I probably will peak in our running back 35 to 40 range. He'll have some spike weeks here and there because of PPR volume, but no sustained role.
The worry is Devin Achane, because they came into the NFL. They're coming in the NFL at the same size. But Devin Achane, now he has transformed his body, and he had a coach that's like, I don't care about your size. I'm going to give you fucking 20 touches a game. That's really rare. We've really never seen the Devin Achane, like what's happened with Achane. We've never seen that before with a guy of that size. And I just don't think it's going to happen again. Like, lightning doesn't strike twice. And Achane is just more sturdy than he is. And definitely Achane's long speed, like you mentioned about him getting winded and just not finishing runs. That's not an issue with Achane. So, and I know Achane was a better pass catcher. So, like, I'm saying that is the worry. Like, if we get burned on this, it's the fact that there's a team that wants that that can turn him in. That's like, fuck it, we're just going to run him out there 17, 18 touches a game. Because his rushing profile is actually impressive, but his feet are good. And also the system he was in, it was all shotgun. It was all like RPOs and like draws and stuff like that. Like, of course you're going to average 5 yards a carry when you're getting that stuff. Like that's not the NFL game. So
yeah, well, I mean, I think there is a possibility that he could become a one season PPR back, but in terms of like a consistent producer for a fantasy team, I don't see it.
Yeah, he'll get replaced real fast. Speaking of, we're talking about a lot of small. Well, we talked about the biggest guy ever in the Hulk and Kenyon Sadiq, and then I had Desmond Reed. You had Damon Claiborne. I have Brennan Thompson as my number 2, and this is just the age-old thing about the guys breaking the 40 time and being in that top 10, top 20 all-time number, right? And 4.2. What did he run? 4.2.
4.29.
4.26.
4.26.
Like, yeah, he's great in Madden. This guy would be great in Madden. In real life, I don't like the film. I went back and I had a little research here for you, story on the top 30 40 times of all time. And mind you, Tyreek Hill is not in here because his 40 time, he was 4.25, but that was a pro day time. So this is combine time. And there is one 1,000-yard season, not like one guy that's had 1,000-yard seasons, like one 1,000-yard season of all of these guys dating back to, I want to say 2000. So here's the list. One guy, and that guy is Santana Moss, who I can't believe he didn't have more than one season because Santana Moss was actually a good receiver. But Xavier Worthy, the most recent guy, broke the record, 4.21. Dante Stallworth, John Ross. So these are the top guys. Anthony Schwartz somehow ran a 4.25. Dree Archer, Henry Ruggs probably would have got it. He was on pace to do it that year before he got, killed a woman and a dog. But like this list, Tyquan Thornton's here, Darius Hayward-Bay, Paris Campbell. It's such Valus Jones. It's such a bad list. One 1,000-yard season from guys at the combine having the top 20 40s of all time. So the way, I mean, that's the only argument I need, story, is that this dude's not a great football player and he's going to get overdrafted based on that 4.26 speed. He's tiny. He's 5'9", 164. Like that doesn't play. Like none of it plays. None of it plays. I am so out of this guy. And I don't think he's going to be in the NFL for more than 3 years is my take. What do you think about him?
So as a college fantasy producer, he was very good at getting your hopes up because he'd have awesome games and then he would completely disappear. You mentioned it, one season of production. His prior 2 years, his junior and his sophomore year, I don't think he crested 300 yards in receiving either season, and he had one reception in his freshman year. So it's a tough nut to crack when you're talking about limited production from a big school. Wasn't the in a team that did tend to throw the ball around a little bit. I do worry about it. Like I never thought that Brennan Thompson was going to translate his profile. Really, they can pop in college, but they don't really translate into the NFL.
So he's wide receiver 18 on Draft Buzz, around Bryce Lance, Ted Hurts, Skylar Bell, Jacoby Lane, and Stribling. Those are the guys around him. And like I could see a team, as much as you don't like Zachariah Branch and Deion Burks, another one of these guys, like those guys are much better. I mean, Deion Burks is a similar type, speed guy, but Zachariah Branch 4.35 speed. That guy's an actual football player. Like he's a man. And I do like Deion Burks' film. Like I could see Brennan Thompson going ahead of both those guys, which would be a crazy mistake because there's just no upside. Like maybe you could say there's a floor of like, I'm going to have a top 5 speed guy in the NFL just running down the field like a Tutu Atwell role. But that's about it. Where like I see Deion Burks is very feisty and very competitive. And as you know my love of Zachariah Branch. So like, but he fuck you. He fucking face. He could go ahead of these guys. Would it surprise you, story, if he went ahead of these guys?
No, it wouldn't. There was a team that could fall in love with the speed, like you mentioned. God, would it surprise you to see Andy Reid take this guy?
Has he not learned his lesson? Like Andy Reid taking speed receivers is the same as John Elway remember when he took all those 6'7" quarterbacks? It was just like he took 3 of them. It was just like, dude, what are you doing? None of these guys pan out. Brock Osweiler and the guy that died, they took that guy. I forget his name. He was 6'7". he was taking all these guys that were just giants with big arms that had the slowest releases, and they had slow feet. So like, and they couldn't process. And like, he just was like, well, I was tall. So like, it leads me to believe that if I'm tall and I was a Hall of Famer, the reason I was a Hall of Famer is because I'm tall. I'm going to take tall quarterbacks. Like, guess what? You could be 6'2" and be elite. Dak Prescott's not that fucking tall. Pretty goddamn good quarterback last time I checked.
Dak Prescott's only 6'2"?
I think Dak Prescott's, 6'2".
Surprising. He looks taller on the field.
Yeah, he's wearing high heels. He's no, Andy Reid can he learn his lesson on like all the guys that let's go through the list, man. Sky Moore, McCole Hardman, like major bust. Xavier Worthy is like the biggest bust because that was a first round pick. Those three in particular have all failed. And is there one more I'm missing on the list?
God, people were so excited for Sky Moore. They were so excited for. I'm like fucking small language. Sorry, it's Easter.
I was one of them. Fuck, you could swear. I was one of them. I like Sky Moore.
But come on, man, small school guy. Like he didn't show a ton of ability. Anyway, like we'll see if he learned his lesson. They're drafting somebody. I guarantee they're drafting somebody in this draft.
Dean says Burks benched 225 25 times at 180. That's crazy. Yeah, he's a monster. He plays that tough too. You
did mention that the other night.
See? All right, so we're on to your number 3 story. This is your number 3 player that you absolutely hate. Soon enough, we're gonna get to guys we really hate.
I know. I'm so numb. I just hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
You are really pigeonhole us into this I hate these guys situation. Well, I hope you're sitting down for this one because my number 3 is wide receiver.
That's the fucking show.
Out of a little school, you might have heard of it, out of South Bend, Indiana, called Notre Dame, Malachi Fields.
Hey! Hey!
I don't know if you.
What's happening here?
That French animal bit my ear off!
Well, that's an absurd exaggeration. My apologies, Bidwell.
Hold on, we're muted.
Are we back?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I got so discombobulated I had to mute you.
Okay. Yes, you that was a rare rattle. So 6'4", 218, 23 years old. We talked about 4 years at Virginia, Notre Dame for his last season. Solid production, not dominant though. No true breakout season. You expect if he spent 4 years at Virginia, he transferred somewhere else, he should have a breakout season. I will say this: he's got size, he's got catch radius, he's got contested catch ability, but big concerns about separation versus top corners. He lacks elite explosiveness that you want to see from a guy of that size. He does look like a wide receiver 1, but that doesn't really mean much if you can't produce like one. I think this size archetype is being overvalued, even though he's a little lower in the draft. I think he doesn't have elite traits to me. Not a consistent target earner. He profiles as a complementary X receiver, so not a guy who's on the field in 2 wide receiver sets. He looks the part, big frame, big catch radius, but the production, separation especially, they don't match that profile. We've seen this before where a player looks like a wide receiver 1, but ends up being more of a role player. I think the market's betting on his body type more than the actual on-field impact. So for me, it's very TD dependent at the next level. Inconsistent weekly output in a fantasy standpoint. I don't have any hope that he will be a consistent, even wide receiver 3 in this league.
So QJ says, I need Mekhi Lemon to be moving on. As you know, I love Malachi Fields. I'll get to your comments here in a second after we talk about Malachi Fields, guys. I love him. He's wide receiver 12 on Draft Buzz. So like the hate there, it's not like he's wide receiver 8 where I have him ranked. Like you maybe hate him because I'm talking him up, but here's the reason, like you said, that it's being overvalued in this draft in particular, because there's not many guys that are like this. There's a lot of guys that are smaller. So he's one of the very few that offer you true X receiver capabilities. So maybe he gets overdrafted based on that. That's not my problem story. I think he's a great player. And who's a better prospect coming out, him or Keon Coleman?
Didn't you already ask this question? I think you already did ask this question.
What's your answer?
I don't know. I can't remember what Keon Coleman's prospect profile was like.
Keon Coleman is smaller, but like they're similar players. And I truly believe that Keon Coleman has ability. He can't separate, neither can Malachi Fields. But the biggest problem with Keon Coleman is he's a fucking moron that is missing meetings, and he's lazy, and his head's not in the game, right? And his hands are a little questionable. He doesn't high point the ball. Malachi Fields does all those things. So do I think Malachi Fields is going to be the wide receiver 1 in this draft? No. Do I think he's going to be a top 5 receiver in this draft? No. I think he's going to be he could be a day 1 starter on a team as a third receiver, but he's an X. And I think he profiles as a guy that's going to be in the league for a long time. He could have a 10 touchdown year. I call him Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay was a fine player. This is Kenny Galladay. Small school NIU Kenny Galladay, more college production. Kenny Galladay, 4.5 40, faster guy. But Malachi Fields, when he catches the ball, it's all hand stuff, super strong hands. He knows how to use his body and leverage guys in the red zone. I love Malachi Fields. So this is one of those, it's the opposite of a Wanda Trust story. And I'm very disappointed. I knew you'd have him on your list.
Guy. Like, again, it's the size speed combo that's getting people enamored, where the production doesn't match up. He looks like a guy that he's gonna pop his head up for a couple touchdown games here and there. He might catch 6 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns when you're never gonna know when to start him. He's not gonna be a consistent guy. He's not gonna be on the field. Like, he's not a flanker. Like, he's not a true X. He's not a slot flank. Like, you're not moving inside. He can't play inside. We saw that for years at Virginia. He can't play inside. So and he can't get off press. I don't think he's going to earn targets at the next level.
We agree to disagree. This is why this show's great. We are going to agree on some guys, I hope, coming up. We had 3 guys we had wanted to trust for loves. So let's get to the questions before I get to my number 3. QJ says, I need Mekhi Lemon to be Carolina Panther. T-Mac, Coker, and Lemon would be a phenomenal wide receiver core. I think they need a tight end, man, because I'm a cokehead. I love Coker. So I don't want, like, Coker's a slot receiver. And I know Lemon in college, and he his high pointing, all that kind of stuff, he looks like he could play on the outside. You're going to at least play like Z. I think Lemon is a true slot receiver. He is what we've seen from St. Brown, that mold. And, like, you're misusing him if you're using him outside. Like, and he can do it, but, like, and if they do play him as a slot receiver, now you're going to take away from Coker's growth. Like, you're fine there. I know, like, Xavier Legette has not panned out. You need to find a replacement for Xavier Legette. That's the replacement you want to find. And how about Malachi Fields? That story. There we go.
From a fantasy perspective, you do not want Mekhi Lemon going to the Carolina Panthers. That muddies the water.
I think he's a Panthers fan, though. He's saying,
well, in that case, yeah, no, I completely see it. Like, more power to you. From fantasy perspective, we do not want more crowded wide receiver rooms. We want narrow route trees, or narrow route, whatever you call it.
Would you rather have Lemon? Let's take a gander here. If they're even in the running, I don't know the Panthers offhand where they're at. Maybe early teens. Panthers are where are the Panthers are fucking 19, dude. There's no way they're getting Lemon at 19. Mm-hmm. So would you rather have, dude? I don't think he falls that far, but I mean the interviews are a little janky. Would you rather have Lemon? Let's say they trade up. They have to trade up to 11 to get him, or let's just say it's 14 to get him. Would you rather have a small trade up to get Lemon, or would you rather take Eli Stowers in the 2nd round? And I don't know if he's going to fall that far, or Max Clare or one of these other tight ends, and you get a blue chip player in the 1st round.
In Tommy Tremble, or who else is there? Jatavian Sanders.
I love Tommy Tremble, but Tommy Tremble is a tight end too. He's always, as you know, I was always betting his prop bets towards the end of the year. Big fan of Tommy Tremble, but he's short and he doesn't high point the ball, and he's just not he's not a red zone option is what he's not. Like, that's his biggest problem.
Yeah, no, they need a tight end there desperately. They need somebody that can take the pressure off of Bryce. I want to say Bryce Lance, but Bryce Young. So Lemon, I don't.
You love Bryce Lance. You fucking love Bryce Lance. You can't get him out of your head.
You love Bryce Lance. There's rumors though that Lemon is kind of falling down draft boards, and a lot of that is because of the interviews, but also some concerns about like some of the off the field stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's some rumblings, and when there's smoke, there might be some fire. Yeah. Dean says Mekhi Lemon has special needs, just like Keon Coleman. Now, I don't think it's going to be like that, even though Keon Coleman didn't come out of the draft process with red flags in that regard, because there's no way he would have been early second round pick drafted ahead of Ladd McConkey, in that awesome draft class. And there's a bunch of other guys he went before because he ran a slow 40. He was not a separator. There was no concerns. We didn't hear anything last year about Keon Coleman. And it just happened in the pros.
He was, I wouldn't say he was squeaky clean coming out of Florida State, but we didn't hear anything that would have raised any eyebrows during the draft process. During the draft process.
Story, ready to get a boner? QJ says Bryce Lance is the most underrated wide receiver in the draft.
Yes, QJ, my man.
I like him.
Go watch the
I like
show
him.
for Friday night.
Yeah, and I was mentioning this a story. You didn't agree, but I brought him up, and you were a little. He's such a small school guy. You didn't really know about him, and I did. And I was like, it's Trey Lance's brother, same school. And I comped him to Christian Watson. He's a skinny Christian Watson, is what he is. You know what he could be? I think this is the good comp. Johnny Knox for Bryce Lance.
Johnny Knox.
What could have been? Johnny Knox got his back broken.
I'm gonna say, remember when he got folded in half? That was horrific. I've seen
Johnny Knox had a nice career, though.
Yeah, he did have a nice career. He was actually, I mean, that was during the era when wide receivers went to Chicago to die. And Johnny Knox had a nice career. I actually met him at a charity event a couple years after he retired from the NFL. Yeah, nice guy.
Was he in a wheelchair?
No, he's upright. I want to be like, yo, how's your back, bro?
Yeah. QJ says Lemon reminds me of Julian Edelman. That's yeah.
Edelman.
I can see it. Julian Edelman was a scrapper, dude. Lemon's a scrapper.
I would say if anybody reminds you of Julian Edelman in this draft, it's Concepcion.
Ooh. Let's see. If Lemon is not available, I want the Panthers to get
Wait, what
Omar
was that? Go back to that comment.
If he had crippling autism.
What was that in relation to?
Yeah, you know, there's nothing wrong with a little autism joke here and there. If anyone's dealing with that in their family or themselves in their chat, I apologize. And I don't apologize because shit, man. It's this is all part of life, dude. It's all part of life. Autism,
True.
Down syndrome, all the things that happen when your mom smokes when you're pregnant.
We're making fun of Kai Lemon.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, one more comment here, and let's see. If Lemon's not available, I want the Panthers to get Omar Cooper. We both like Omar Cooper.
We do like
that. Now that's a good fit because Omar Cooper is much more versatile than Mekhi Lemon. I feel like you're not sacrificing too much by moving him out of the slot. Where like if you move Lemon out of the slot, you're sacrificing a lot of his game.
A ton out of his game. So I completely agree with that.
JD says kind of seems like Lemon is perpetually stoned. That interview, that was some weird shit, man. That interview was
yeah, go back and watch it if you haven't.
Bobbing his head and shit. What was that, man?
I don't know. Vicodin? I don't know.
You think it's actually going to hurt his draft stock when people go back and watch that?
Dude, teams take guys off the board for the weirdest reasons. So you'll never know what's going through a GM's head. Plus, we're dealing with some of the biggest morons in the country at GM right now. Your boy Chris Ballard probably took him off the list strictly for that reason. I know you hate
Chris Ballard, Simple Jack.
I know you hate
Simple Jack, the story of a mentally impaired farmhand who can talk to animals, was a box office disaster that many critics called one of the worst movies of all time.
Got a good brain.
I think you've got a fine brain, Jack.
You make me happy.
But now the question is, can speed...
Nice.
That's a good comp right here. Lance reminds me of Jermaine Kearse from the Seahawks. Had some major moments in the playoffs. A guy that never really took the next step in the regular season for fantasy, as always usually a number 3, like a downfield threat. What do you think about that? Kearse was thicker than Bryce Lance, but definitely a big play merchant.
I mean, I'll be honest. I really don't remember Kearse's profile. I could not tell you.
No, I'm just talking about his NFL career. I don't remember Kearse's profile. He was like a fifth or sixth round pick.
He had 3 or 4 seasons there with the Seahawks there where he was relevant, like a a low end wide receiver 3 type.
All right, let's get back to the list. We have a 2-hour cap in the show. If it gets popping, I will stay on and answer all your guys' questions. Story has you're traveling tomorrow, right, for work?
I'm gonna do Orlando tomorrow.
You're not going to Disney World?
No, this is strictly work. I am gonna have an $85 steak on Wednesday though. I know where we're going. I've already scouted the menu.
That's lame. All right, my number 3, Katron Allen, RB7. You don't like this one, do you? Story. I already know this.
Let's see here. What are we on? We're on number 3, 4,
yeah.
3. You're on 3.
I said number 7. Number 3. Yeah.
4, 5, 6. Running back, Katron Allen, Penn State.
You do like this hate. You love this hate.
Yeah, he's number 6 on my list.
So this is a wand of trust hate
Back to
on
the wand.
Katron Allen. We fucking hate this guy, and we're gonna tell you
Jeffrey,
why.
I hate you, motherfucker! I hate you! This is out of control! Don't fuck with me, Jeffrey! I'll kill you, goddammit! Look at me!
The hate clips tonight are out of control, and I love it.
That's from the Jeffrey Dahmer show. That actually happened in real life too, by the way, in the courtroom. So, anyways, Katron Allen. So he is RB7 on Draft Buzz. That's like probably end of the second round, mid-second, maybe early third pick. 5'11", 216. They call him Fat Boy, I think, is his nickname. His mom named him that. Super thick legs, and he kind of looks like MJD out there, a taller MJD. But nothing in the passing game. You're not going to get anything in the passing game out of this guy. So fantasy purposes, that's going to be rough. Slow. His vision's good. So there's some pluses. I think he's a very safe floor player in this draft. And this is a weak running back class in terms of depth and high end if you take away Jeremiah Love. But I'm going to shoot for a home run here in this draft class because there are some guys that could be, you mentioned Singleton, Mike Washington. I love Seth McGowan. We both love Seth McGowan. Like, there's guys, and I much prefer Jamari Taylor over him. If you want to talk about a power back, and I know Jamari Taylor is only 200 pounds, but like I prefer him at RB10 than Katron Allen. And I just, why do you hate him?
I mean, there was consistent production at Penn State. He spent 24 years there. I mean, he was in a committee most of the time with Nick Singleton. Physical runner, good contact balance, but limited explosiveness, right? Not a big play threat, no receiving ability, likely an early down, first, second grinder kind of guy. Solid profile, but he's being priced with upside the way I see it, both the NFL draft and in the fantasy community. He's going to need volume and touchdowns to matter, but the lack of traits that create fantasy upside is what really concerns me. He's a good physical runner, but that's kind of the issue. There's nothing in his profile that points to high-end fantasy ceiling. He's not explosive. He's not a big receiving threat, and he's likely to be capped from that regard. So for me, he might have a season where he peaks at running back 28, 26, somewhere in there because he gets a ton of touchdowns, but he's going to be touchdown dependent, and he's got a replaceable profile. Like the next crop of guys in 2027, 2028 could absolutely unseat him.
And you mentioned he needs volume, and here's the biggest issue with free agency and just some of these older running backs still in the NFL. There's just not a lot of landing spots that are going to offer him the starting role, not to mention his draft capital won't be day one. So, like the other guys like Seth McGowan, he could overtake someone just based on his metrics and just being a fucking explosive monster. Like, this dude's boring. And unless someone I'm trying to think of a team like the Vikings, right? With Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, he's not gonna take over Aaron Jones' role. Excuse me. I'm allergic to fucking Katron Allen. He's not going to take over Aaron Jones' role, and Jordan Mason's going to be better than him at this stage of his career. Jordan Mason's huge, and it looked bad last year. That was a problem with the offense more than it was Jordan Mason, if you ask me. And they kind of misused Jordan Mason. Allen's
like Chris Rodriguez 2.0 for me. He's even a worse version of Chris Rodriguez. I have no love for this guy whatsoever.
Yep, I am out. So I'm going to go to my next guy since you've already had you've had 4 guys in your list.
Now, yeah.
All right, my number 4, Jack Endries. Is it Endries?
Jack Endries, yeah.
When I was watching it, I was so disgusted on his film that I didn't even get the announcers saying his name. This dude is just such a regular player, like 6'5", 245. Ran a solid little 40 time out of Texas. Pretty nice history there with Texas tight ends, 4'6", 240. The film, man, I know his 10-yard is really nice, 81 percentile. His vert's pretty good. His broad jump was all right. So the metrics are good. The production was okay. I see 98% hands out of Texas for his profile. It just didn't. Nothing jumped off the page to me. And I know Sam Roush is kind of that guy we talked about that you love. But Sam Roush is 6'6", 265. So his film reminded me of Sam Roush, but Sam Roush has 20 pounds in him and is a better blocker. So I just don't think he is. I don't think he's a great receiver. I know he's not a good blocker. So what is he going to do at the next level? Tight end 6. I just feel like the draft capital won't be good enough. Nothing about his film was impressive to me, and he just seems like the definition of just a guy, like a bad Greg Dulcich is what I comp him to.
Also, have you seen his profile pic? He looks
like a big dumb idiot.
Well, he looks like every frat boy who's coming to the frat bro who's coming to the bar to watch the game. Just mediocre production for 3 years. I was surprised he actually came out. Now, part of it can be attributed to the early season struggles of Arch Manning last year, but again, he just doesn't do that much. He's only 6'4". He is 240. I'm not really enamored with this guy whatsoever. He is a blog guy. I think he's going to come and go very quickly in the NFL. He'll probably bounce around. He'll probably have a team and a second contract, but I can't ever see this guy. He feels like a Tommy Tremble to me.
And I love this tight end class. Like we talked down about the running back class, and I talked down about the high end wide receiver talent. Although I love the wide receiver class for depth, but looking at guys going after him, Justin Jolie I like more. Joe Royer is a fucking
Justin Jolly
freak. Jolly, okay. Royer's a freak with the yak stuff out of Cincinnati. Oscar Delp is a guy that's at 4.49 speed at 245. That his production was terrible, but he's a reclamation project, a team might fall in love with him. And then I like Raridan. I like Raridan at Notre Dame.
Oh,
so yeah. I'm saying I would rather have Endries, but Endries is going to be taking two rounds ahead of him. So all day long, give me Michael Trigg right ahead of him. I want all of these guys over him. So process of elimination, it's not like I hate the guy. I think he's fine. He'll be an NFL player, but I would have him more down at tight end 9, and we at tight end 6. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would have thought, to be honest, he wouldn't even cross my profile, my brain as I'm going through profiles. I wonder, where is he being drafted?
Well, it's tight end 6 is where he's ranked, so I'm guessing that's a 3rd round pick. End of 3rd.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
All right. We have a super for you story. I know this isn't your MO, but you can respond to it, and then I'll respond to it as well. And Dakota's I love you, Dakota. Story, thoughts on Cooper Flagg having more 40-point games in 66 games played as a rookie teenager than LeBron had in 108 games played as a teenager as well. Coop is the only teenager to score 50+ in a game.
So I really appreciate the super, Dakota. It's really nice of you, and I understand. I understand the question. I don't know the answer to that question whatsoever. I don't have any thoughts. I couldn't tell you what team Cooper Flagg played for. I am not the NBA guy.
Mavericks.
Okay.
No, he's not.
I am not the NBA guy at all.
Story's too white to watch NBA. I think that's the bottom line. His 8th grade haircut just doesn't allow it. It just doesn't work when it comes on the screen. His hair starts falling out, and he's like, "I need this fucking hair.
I need this hair."
I'll give you my thoughts though. He didn't ask, but I want to always give you your bang for your buck. Thank you, by the way. You're the man. Yeah, Cooper Flagg's good, but what does that mean? He's gonna be better than LeBron? Zero chance. He'll be out of the league when he's 35, which means he's gonna have a great career. But he's good. They're also a bottom feeder team, even worse than the Cavs were with LeBron was a rookie. And don't quote me on that. You can check the stats. Pretty sure they are. And yeah, Cooper Flagg, I love him. And they're so lucky that the NBA rigged that draft after that terrible Luka Doncic trade to be like, frozen envelope, you are getting Cooper Flagg to make up for giving the Lakers a generational player. And that's what happened. So I like Cooper Flagg's outlook. The Mavs, I don't really like him because they don't have anything else besides him. The Anthony Davis trade, getting him, now trading him for nothing. It's a rough situation there in Dallas. But you know what? Cooper Flagg is the truth. He's the great white hope. He could be the next Larry Bird. That might be crazy to say, but you should say that about compare him to Larry Bird. Let's get to a couple more questions because we're a little behind, and we'll get to your number 4 after this. What do you think about Jacob Rodriguez? That dude's a monster. Texas Tech, right? Is that right? Linebacker at Texas Tech?
Texas Tech. He's the mustache guy, right? Like the big Ron Swanson mustache guy.
I think so. You're the college expert. I don't watch a lot of defensive films, so
yeah, I should have watched more Texas Tech last year. I really didn't.
So QJ says I think he could be a Dollar General version of Luke Kuechly. Would love him in Carolina too.
Yeah, I mean, what do you run? Like a 4.6 40, something like that.
Blake says yes with a mustache. That's what we know. That's the mustache guy.
I mean, I have fallen off on the defensive side of guys as the draft has come up and we're getting prepared for the skill position players and the offensive guys. I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't really know. Like his prospect profile, I think it was probably in the high 70s, low 80s. Fast dude, good vertical, good broad. I guess I don't really know beyond that. I didn't watch many Texas Tech games, believe it or not, even as good as they were last year.
Thank you for your honesty. Blake says, what do you think about Josh Cameron out of Baylor?
I love Josh Cameron. Last year, he was very productive in, a 1-year sample size. That Baylor team was interesting. Where's he being? Do you know where he's been? Like, where is his draft?
I haven't watched him, so he's got to be way down the list, man. I've watched the top 30 guys consensus, and now I'm going on more deep cuts that I read about. So, because there's like 60 guys that are, potential to be drafted. So I did not watch much about Josh.
I'm trying to figure out what's the site that we use for draft,
Draft Buzz.
Draft Buzz. Thank you. I want to know where he's being because it wasn't a huge productive year. It was under 1,000 yards. I think it was under 900 yards, but it was 2 years in a row of pretty good production for a tight end. 870 yards in the Big 12 is pretty good for a tight end. I knew that I throw the ball around quite a bit, but 2 years of that, it was probably a few yards fewer position ranking.
While you look that up, I'm going to answer this question, and I want to get your opinion. Dean, great question, by the way.
So I'm sorry, not tight end. Wide receiver. I don't know why.
Dean, worst ever Jeffrey, Dahmer or Epstein? So I think the easy answer is Dahmer because he murdered people and including children because the one victim that got away from was like a 14-year-old Asian boy. So you had the worst of both types. He was fucking with children and murdering them. But I'm going to actually give you a hot take. It's Jeffrey Epstein because the web of Epstein goes so far. So it wasn't just what he was doing. He was, bringing other people in to abuse these children. And yes, murder is bad. It's probably the worst thing. But sexual abuse of a child is second worst. And the volume was much worse with Epstein. And also, I'm kind of a Jeffrey Dahmer defender. And this is going to sound very hot takey, very gross. Compared to John Wayne Gacy, and compared to Ted Bundy and the other guys, the Green River Killer, all these guys, Jeffrey Dahmer showed contrition. He admitted he was sick. He wanted to learn about himself. So I'm not saying he was a great dude. I'm saying he's better than those other guys. So, I mean, that means something to me. I think he was a nice guy. I think he was very sick. Jeffrey Dahmer was very sick. And so was Jeffrey Epstein. But Epstein, fuck him. Fuck Epstein. And also fuck Dahmer. So it's just, I don't want to go on a limb being like I'm a Dahmer defender. But it's just
Dahmer defender.
Tough position. Tough position you put me in there, Dean. But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. That was my honest take. What do you think? What's the answer? Is it the murderer or the pedo?
Oh man,
Dahmer was both a murderer and a pedophile.
You also have to weigh the sheer volume, right? What was Dahmer? How many murders for Dahmer? I mean,
8 or 9.
Yeah, but he had a lot more sexual assaults listed in there.
Correct.
Victims in the hundreds, if not thousands. So
how do you weigh? And then the web goes to fucking thousands.
Absolute the worst pedophile ring in modern history. So how do you weigh the lives of 9 people? Plus a bunch of sexual assaults versus thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of, and then the victims, the people that were affected. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think by default you got to go with the guy that actually snuffed out life, but I can make a case for either one. This is
exactly.
Weird.
Thank you.
It's years away. Don't care. Jesus Christ, you ooze talent.
Anyway. Yeah, Josh Cameron. Solid profile, 2 years of high touchdowns. Baylor throwing the ball around a lot. They had a tight end there, Michael Trigg. Solid guy, but the traits don't scream starter in the NFL. He just doesn't. He's not going to 6'2", 220, so he's a little short for an X receiver, traditional X receiver, and he's not Jamar Chase level talent to be at that size.
Okay. Dean says Jack Endress had a quarterback rating when targeted of 118. And then he said, wait, that could be a college football quarterback rating, which I don't understand. QBR is up to 100, guys. Quarterback rating goes up to 158.6. It's really weird. That's really high, though. 118 is very, very high.
Yeah, but the college QBR is like 200, somewhere around there.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So maybe that's a bad stat. Is that a bad stat then?
Yeah, I think it does. Let me double check that. College QBR top. Let's see what that says. Yeah, I mean, because Mendoza last year 182.9 to 184.7, so it goes up into like the 180s.
So Endra sucks. That's the point. Okay. JD says I like Dallin Bentley from Utah, can block and catch. It's tight end, I'm guessing. I don't know much about this guy.
Yeah, I don't know much about him either. Utah left the Pac-12 a couple years ago, and whatever conference they ended up in, I didn't follow.
All right. Everyone's talking about Jacob Rodriguez's profile pic. Looks like it's 1987.
Oh, this is the guy I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, he's a former quarterback with the porn. Rodriguez is the playmaking machine. The only knock on him is arm length and size, which is, it's kind of like the Will Campbell thing, right? Which kind of came to fruition a little bit.
Yeah.
Different position, but. So Rodriguez would be a second-round pick, but teams could very easily go ahead and draft him in the first round. So I was talking to Ray about this last night, and I've been reading a lot of experts that they say, and also like GMs and scouts. They have typically between 18 and 21 first round grades in these players. And then the guys from like 20, there's like 50 guys they have second round grades on. So the top end of the draft is what it is, right? With some of the elite edge rushers and, Mendoza and Love. But then it thins out like right at 19. So it kind of sucks for the Bears who have the 25th pick. But once you get to the second round, second and third round is gold. Like it goes really deep. That's specifically the wide receiver class, right? Like that wide receiver 5 through 17 is so interchangeable. So that's why a guy like Rodriguez, you're saying he's profiling as a second round pick. Like he could easily get moved up to take, if someone falls in love and they're like, this guy is a first round grade, could be a 24th overall.
Interesting. Okay. I probably should follow more of the defensive side when it comes to the draft, but right now I'm kind of pigeonholed into offensive players, skilled position players in particular.
Dahmer killed 17 people. Okay, you know what? I just thought it was low because he wasn't like the 30s and 40s like the other guys. Still very a lot. Skylar Bell, JD. Skylar Bell. You know what Skylar Bell is? He is a wand of trust player on this thing. I had my number 1 player I love. Story had him like number 5 in your list on Friday. So we love Skylar Bell. We love Skylar Bell. All right, so we got to get to the next name here. So you were on to your next guy, right? I did my number 4, or do you have your number 5?
So I did. We did Katron Allen for me, so I'm on 4. Then this would be 4, I believe, right? I think.
What do you got?
So it's I think you're gonna like this one. Chris Brazzell, the second out of Tennessee. Why isn't he a junior? A lot of these guys are juniors, right? Why isn't this guy a junior? The second, I don't know what.
Well, Chris Brazzell's my number 10, which we're doing reverse in this. He's my most hated player. And Chris Brazzell is the most easy player to hate. We fucking hate Chris Brazzell. He just, I could give you a list of a million reasons why.
I hate the way you talk to me and the way you cut your hair. I hate the way you drive my car. I hate it when you stare. I hate your big dumb combat boots and the way you read my mind. I hate you so much it makes me sick. It even makes me rhyme.
Oh, Julia Stiles, love that.
Real quick, can I just pat myself on the back for just being the best ever? Because that's why this show is unlike anything else. You're getting deep dive cuts from 10 things I hate about you. Sorry, I just want to pat myself on the back because you're not going to get that anywhere else.
Oh, I love the.
I've gone on for an hour.
I love the hate cutaways tonight. It's filling my cup.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I won't go too much into it because you got it too. But he spent 2 years at Tulane, 2 years at Tennessee. We've talked about Josh Heupel's system in the past, big play production in a vertical system, but limited route tree, right? He's got speed, he's got field stretching ability, but the production is hugely inflated because of the system. Very raw as a route runner, very much a boom bust skill set. He's fun. He can win downfield. We saw him win downfield a lot in Tennessee, but when you zoom out, it's a really narrow profile. He's not running that full route tree. It's very limited, as I mentioned. And it comes from a system that creates vertical shots. So it's tough to rely on from both. Oh, there she is. There's our good friend. Good. Tough to rely on from both a fantasy perspective and I think a real life perspective. I'm not sure how much equity this guy has at the NFL level.
So I see the appeal of Chris Brazzell, wide receiver 5 on Draft Buzz. What the hell are we doing? Just alone. The issue with Tennessee receivers, the list goes on and on. Jalen Hyatt was a first-round NFL draft pick. Like, have we not learned our lesson? There's more to the list. There's a lot more to the list. But I have an interesting stat, and I'm going to give you the comp for this guy that also fit this. I looked up the comps of guys that fit this mold for the stat I'm about to give you, and he was actually on the list, so I was very proud of myself. So Chris Brazzell, they have, believe it or not, it's a really interesting offense, but Tennessee's offense is very static. They don't have a lot of movements. They put their guys where they put them, and it works because they're so spread out. And he lined up at X, at right side of the formation. Remember how DeAndre Hopkins did that in the NFL all the time on the left?
Yeah.
But it's DeAndre Hopkins, and it worked out. So Chris Brazzell lined up at X, right side of the formation, 94% of the snaps he took in Tennessee. And I went through the list of guys in their college profiles that had similar, like 90+%, and the list is filled with bums. And the number one guy on this list that I actually had as my comp before this, Josh Doxson. Remember him with Washington?
Oh, yeah.
You know, big dude, strong dude, fast dude. And that's Chris Brazzell. And Josh Doxson had a couple games in the NFL, a couple 2-touchdown games, but literally was out of the league so fast. What a bum. Chris Brazzell is a bum. He could be a top 40 pick story. And,
he could be he could very easily slip into the first half of the second round, and it's concerning. I mean, from a fantasy perspective, like maybe he's a late round best, like extreme late round best ball because he's probably gonna have spike weeks, but he's gonna finish wide receiver 50 most weeks. He's not reliable, and I mean, don't forget, like I get it, 1,000 yards, 7 or 8 touchdowns last year, but you're playing in a system that rewards those downfield shots. Joey Aguilar was really great at getting downfield as well. So if you don't have a quarterback that's extremely accurate downfield, I'm not sure that there's going to be a ton of meat on the bone for Chris Brazzell.
That dude's not coming out this year, right? Aguilar's staying one more year. He has to.
Oh, he's coming out.
Oh, I kind of like him. Maybe I should scout him because I kind of like this film. Jalen Hyatt just ran straight line at Tennessee, and he was a first-round pick. So I think we like Chris Brazzell more than Jalen Hyatt. I know it's in retrospect, it's easy to say that because Jalen Hyatt's been like one of the all-time busts in the NFL. But Jalen Hyatt was legit fast, and I know Chris Brazzell is as well, and he's more physical. But is it close for you, or is Brazzell like, way ahead of Jalen Hyatt coming out?
I think he's probably ahead. I wouldn't say way ahead, but I would say he's probably ahead for sure.
Because it's one of these things that you think that Chris Brazzell would be ranked way lower because of the cautionary tale of these Tennessee receivers. And it's the Taylon Green, Anthony Richardson thing. Like Anthony Richardson's getting pushed down so much because they're just like, this is Anthony Richardson 2.0. But no one's doing this with Chris Brazzell. And apparently the Bears might take him in the second round. Buzz, your girlfriend, woof. Like, no, I don't want anything to do with this guy. No way. Anywhere. Yeah. Maybe third round. Maybe third round.
We'll see what happens. Like teams could take a shot on him early. And then he's also, his profile is the one that could slip into the third round.
And I just want to just preface this with this list. Like, we're not saying Chris Brazzell the reason we don't like Chris Brazzell is because he is wide receiver 5 on Draft Buzz. If he was wide receiver 15 on Draft Buzz, I would love him. Like, he is probably my 15th ranked receiver this year. So, like, that wouldn't be bad. But it's just where they're being ranked, where they're being valued, and where they're most likely going to go based on positional rank. That's why we hate these guys. And again, we could be wrong on some of these players. We could be wrong just based on landing spot.
Yeah, I mean, very much so, but I can't ever see this guy being on a redraft roster of mine.
No, because he comps as the Marquez Valdez-Scantling player. That is just like, when do you, even when he's playing 88% of the snaps because he's a sacrificial X receiver, like you need a 70-yard bomb. You need a 50-yard touchdown. That's the only way he's going to make your week. And like, those are the hardest things to predict. It's impossible to predict that, actually. I don't care if you look at matchups and like defensive schemes, like the quarterback has to hit that play. If they scheme it up, like the offensive line has to block. And for a guy like Chris Brazzell, he has to catch the ball. Which, you know what else about Chris Brazzell? He has to not drop the ball before the end zone. And I'm telling you, this guy, I will bet someone if he plays in the NFL for 5 years, he's decent. He will pull a Deshaun Jackson, right? If you had like odds on guy most likely to pull a Malachi Corley Deshaun Jackson, it's called the Deshaun Jackson. It's this guy. And one last point story about Chris Brazzell. When you watch his highlights, it's great. When you watch full games, the body language stuff on the routes he's not targeted on, and like some of those things, the blocking effort, it's not good. There's also some off the field stuff that's not. It's not, Seth McGowan getting arrested, right? It's not that. But there's rumblings.
It's eyebrow raising.
All this together, you have red flags through the fucking roof. And with wide receiver 5, like we're talking second round talent in terms of where people are going to value him off my board. And I don't say that very often, but like, where would you feel comfortable? Let's just end it here. Where would you be comfortable drafting Chris Brazzell? Is it the 4th round because of his size, speed?
In Dynasty or in
and talk about NFL draft. If you're an NFL team, where would you be comfortable if you have a need for a big, fast X receiver?
Yeah, that profile, I can see taking a shot at the end of the 3rd. I think, but it better be a luxury pick for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's too early to take another running back. It's too late to take a difference-making linebacker, kind of in that nebulous zone. Otherwise, he's a 4th round pick.
But we both think he's going to be gone by the end of the 2nd round, right?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Etzer says, talk about the Wanda Trust. Rob, you look way too comfortable holding that thing. Funny story. My wife won this at Dirty Bingo with her friend, and she's never used it. I'm like, if you're going to win something that's rather valuable in my mind, and you're not going to use it, I'm going to find a use for it. And the podcast is the perfect place. And I like it. Dakota just realized what the Wanda Trust is. Wild. It's when I busted out, you should have seen this. This is before the streams. But Story had the biggest smile on his face when I busted that Wanda Trust. I pretty much shoved it in his face. And you know what it was, Story? If you recall, the year prior, we were doing the movie show. We were doing Dark Knight, and I was recreating the Joker's knife thing, and I was shoving a knife in his throat. So I think you're just like, man, like anything but a knife in my face 5 times for a show. You're like, okay, the dildo is much better, and you've embraced it. And I really appreciate you embracing the dildo. It's not dildo, sorry, it's same thing. Vibrator, dildo. I don't know. I'm a guy. I don't know these sex toys.
Come on, big difference. You got to know this kind of stuff.
Okay. People are loving the clips tonight. And then Jake, this is why I put Helen Hunt. He said, but please no Helen Hunt picks for the love of God. I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it. So let's see. One last thing here. JD Stribling from Ole Miss. We talked about him a little bit the other day.
Yeah.
Measurables are great, right?
I hesitate to call him like from Ole Miss because he spent 2 years at Washington State and 2 years at, was it Oklahoma or Oklahoma State? I can't remember.
Well, I don't know. He's at Ole Miss, though, is where
he was at Ole Miss this past year with Chambliss. I think he had like 800 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. It was a good season. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, Trinidad Chambliss was quite a revelation last year. He was not supposed to be the starter. The problem with Stribling is he started his year extremely slow. Had a decent first game, and then he really fell off the radar, popped up again, then fell off. It's tough to trust this guy, I think, at the next level. I'm not really sure where he's going to end up being drafted. He feels like a 5th round pick to me.
All right. Yeah, we talked about him comparing him to DK Metcalf, like a poor man's DK Metcalf in terms of size, speed. But he's big, he's fast, and he doesn't play very strong, though.
If you know in the chat, remind me, was it Oklahoma or Oklahoma State? Because I can't remember where his sophomore and junior.
Blake will be on it. JD, yeah, Seth McGowan, he had armed robbery. He actually served time, had to go play junior college, then New Mexico State, and then ended up in Kentucky. And we both love Seth McGowan. So that's a good reclamation project. That's a good story, honestly, a feel-good story.
I like him.
Outside of Juwan Jennings, only Tennessee wide receiver I can think of that was competent was Cordell Patterson. But Cordell Patterson's a gadget player that, was taking running back snaps. Like, Juwan Jennings is the answer, Dakota, of the best Tennessee receiver. But, it took him 4 years to even break out. Now, it was on a pretty loaded Niners team. But that's your like, shining fucking coin there is Juwan Jennings out of Tennessee. There's been a bunch of them drafted high. That's terrible. That's what we're talking about.
I can't believe Juwan Jennings hasn't signed yet. That is really surprising to me. I guess at this point, what's the point of signing?
Well, he wanted $20 million, dude. He's not getting $20 million.
Right, but I did not think that he would be still hanging around this late.
Juwan Jennings has a lot of, it's not off, it's on the field stuff with Juwan Jennings punching guys in the dick. Like, everyone hates him. Like, he's made a lot of enemies, right? And he's like Dennis Rodman of the NFL. And unfortunately, Dennis Rodman's a Hall of Fame basketball player, and Juwan Jennings is just a guy. He's a very good guy. I like him, but he's also been like marred with injuries too. Shit takes a toll, man.
Gets you.
All right, we are on to your number 5.
Yeah, I'll go again. So it's Denzel Boston for me. I might get some hate for this one, but he is kind of a lot of people like him. A lot of people have some concerns. I think he's kind of creeping up draft board. 6'4", 212, coming out as a junior. Spent 3 years at Washington with a redshirt year. Strong counting stats, right? But he benefited from a very high volume passing offense. I do like the size. I like the catch radius. I like the red zone utility in particular. Not a high-end separator at the next level. Could be a concern. Production tied to that offensive environment in Washington, as I said. Limited after the catch ability. Volume driven. He profiles for me as a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, not an alpha. And I'm worried that a team's going to see him as an alpha wide receiver. Capped at, he doesn't really have those elite traits that we're looking for. The numbers do look good, but he's playing in that pass-heavy system, as I mentioned. When you isolate him from that system, when you isolate the traits, there's not really one area where he shines, where he stands out. That usually is to like a really solid role player in the NFL, but not necessarily a difference maker at the next level, not a fantasy difference maker either. So he'll probably settle in the wide receiver 30 to 40 range, but he really needs a good situation to matter for fantasy football. He's one of those guys that feels like he'll be better in real life than he'll be in fantasy.
He's a dude that is pro ready. I will give Denzel Boston that from the film. I personally have him pretty close to Malachi Fields. I want him over Malachi Fields, but it's close. Some concerning things here. 4.6 40, so same as Malachi Fields. 35-inch vertical. I know he's huge, but that's not great. Shuttle was 38 percentile, and his span is only 67 percentile, which I say only because he's 6'4". So he actually kind of has smaller arms, and I think someone's going to fall in love and think they're getting a number one receiver. And I hear a lot of people comping him to Mike Evans. Like, dude, Mike Evans ran a 4.5 40, and he was 230 pounds. Like, and Mike Evans is the all-time gamer, and like, get out of here. Like, that is not a comp. Like, Mike Evans, there's not a lot of players that comp to Mike Evans. And if that's what people think they're getting, they are so mistaken. I don't hate him. I'm a little lower on him than consensus. I think you're a little lower than me. But I think it's just people are going to get ahead of their skis in fantasy and scouts and GMs, and they're going to just fall in love with this guy because he is pro ready. And it is a weaker upside, weaker top end NFL draft. And like I said about Malachi Fields, it's limited on these X receivers. And this guy is an X receiver. So there's going to be needs on these teams, and there's limited players to fill these needs, and especially day one impact players. But in terms of like value, and I know obviously I love Fields. Give me Malachi Fields 2 rounds later all fucking day than Denzel Boston, because you're just getting a guy in my mind. I think he's going to be probably a top 40 pick, maybe first round. He could go first round.
He could go first round. That's why I said he's been kind of creeping up draft boards a little bit. I think he was solidly in the second round at the start of draft season, and now he is creeping into the first round in some mocks.
All right, my number 5 and number 4 are similar, but I'm going to give you my number 5. Carson Beck, quarterback 4, and he's battle tested. He's traveled. He's won a lot of games. Won some big games. I did like his combine. The fact that it was essentially a road game for him for the first time ever.
You liked
because
his
Indiana
combine?
fans. No. I didn't like his. I like the way he threw at the combine.
Okay, because he tested poorly at the combine.
Right, but his throwing stuff was okay. But it was the fact he was getting booed the whole time, the only player ever to have a road combine, even though Indiana won the goddamn game. So why do they hate Carson Beck so much? He's a very hateable guy. Got the tats. He looks like Sid from fucking Ice Age. Just gross. Like, whenever my wife sees him, she's like, "What the fuck is that?" And not saying that this is a bad argument for not liking the guy, but this is a class thing for me. There's one guy that I love that I'm actually not as high on as consensus, but it's Mendoza. And then Ty Simpson is the X factor. After that, this is a D. Shout out to Mouth on Downtown Sports. D for detestable for this quarterback class. And yeah, Carson Beck profiles as a steady, consistent backup for years to come in the NFL, but you might have to take him in the second or third round. And I don't want to draft a backup quarterback. What's the point? There's you can get a million reclamation projects. Look what happened with Sam Darnold. The list goes on. You could find these guys. You know what I'm saying? Will Levis could be had for a 6th round pick. And I like Will Levis more than I like Carson Beck. And they're probably similar age. So why would I spend a high, a second or third round pick on a guy that's profiles the backup to me? Not to mention you have some, not character issues. You have some Josh Rosen. There's some Josh Rosen vibes with this guy. And I think he wants to be the starter. He's going to come in, and I don't want my backup to be a distraction as well. So Carson Beck, I hate him. I absolutely hate him, and I don't know why anyone would take him in the first 3 rounds of the draft.
Well, I got to say, he's number 8 on my list right here. So want to trust, bust it out. Now, 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", right? 6'5", 230.
It all looks good, man. It does look good.
4 years in Georgia, surrounded by talent, great system. So he learned. Great year with Miami last year. Really elite there. He's efficient. He's very efficient in a structured offense when he's surrounded by elite talent. But limited ability to create outside the pocket or when the play breaks down. I do like his accuracy. I like his timing. He's very much a pocket passer, but he's dependent on that supporting cast, on that structure. Very little upside in the rushing game. I think he's very capped for fantasy. I think he's capped for the NFL as well. It's just tied to the environment. Maybe a low-end starter in the NFL at some point, but he's another one where the environment's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Like I said, lifting. 4 years at Georgia there. He's accurate. He operates well, but what happens when things break down? We saw it time and time again, like at Georgia in particular, his last year at Georgia. Like when things got hairy, things break down for him. He doesn't go through his progressions very well. He throws way too many interceptions. Way too many interceptions in the red zone. Not a lot of creation from this guy. So for me, I can't see this guy being a difference maker at the next level. I'd be floored if he broke the top 16, even if he gets a starting gig, like a top 16 quarterback on a regular basis.
Agreed. I just don't see the appeal, and it's as much as about Carson Beck, it's about this quarterback class and where he's probably going to get steamed up to go, because guys are always looking at, a lot of teams have this rule. They're going to try to take a quarterback every year, every other year. He seems like the prime example of like, we just need a quarterback. Maybe there's some potential there. I don't ever see the potential that people see that we're saying he doesn't have. So we're going to get to your questions here in 1 second.
I just want to have you put up what Jonathan said there, and he's 100% correct. Like in clutch time, you don't want Carson Beck in clutch time, right? The guy cannot make decisions quickly enough. He makes wrong decisions. Like the dude's throwing, I mentioned the interceptions. Like Jonathan is 100% correct that Carson Beck is not the go-to guy. He's not clutch. And I know you can't really that, but
isn't the bully, he's not I said it also looks like the bully from Toy Story. Isn't that also Sid? Isn't that the neighbor? That's also Sid.
Too? I don't know.
No, he's just Sid. He's just Sid. Yeah, Sid is the neighbor, the crazy kid. Sid.
Okay. That is kind of crazy.
That's really weird. So we were Sid Beck. All right, before we get to, you have 3 names left. I have 4 names left. Is that correct, Story?
I believe, let me double check that, but I believe you're right. 1, because we did
all
that.
Right.
2, 3. Yeah, I got 3 left. Yep.
Cool. Before we get to the top 3, answer a couple more of your questions. I want to shout out to the Patreon bros, keeping the lights on here. Appreciate everybody. We have the Dynasty stuff going. If you're in the Dynasty League, Jonathan, you're in there. A couple other guys. Make sure you're voting on all the rules and the settings that we're doing. Every day I'm putting something in there in the private Discord chat. But I appreciate all you guys in the Patreon. If you're interested in joining the community, guys, we're rocking. We did 25 shows in March. We have not missed a day in April. It's draft season. We're going to keep on popping this shit out. Once May comes, I'm doing best balls every night. And then we're not going to miss a night the rest of the fucking year, besides like a wedding I have to go to. I'm devoted. My crew is elite. Shout out Story. Shout out to Chaz. Nick O back in the fold this year. Big Ray. Tom TD. We got Mouth filling in every week, man. It's a great crew, and the community is the best. We appreciate all of you guys. But access to the Discord community, besides just supporting me, you get a lot of good stuff. Access to the Discord community. Community fantasy leagues. Yeah, the Dynasty League's full. Guess what? We're going to have 5 or 6 redraft leagues. Play against all of the hosts. Have access to all the hosts in the Discord. DM us. Ask your start set questions. We can't get to every question and ask and answer in depth here. Get to them in the Discord. Guest appearances on the pod. Shout out to Dakota, who's a fanatic, by the way. He was on the show, 10 days ago doing an NBA Top 10. Great show. Free merchandise giveaways. Boys, these hats, we got shirts given away every single month to you guys, giving back to the people that are giving back to me, and access to my bets. Gentlemen, 96 and 58 last year. 205 and 125. These are all even odds player props. I don't do lines. I bet what I know. We know fantasy. Also, Story, you're doing college football this year for us on the betting stuff. So Mike Story knows his goddamn shit. We're going to just rake in the money. We bend over Vegas and bang them royally. So instead of losing money, or if you're not betting, just blindly follow these motherfuckers. You're going to win a lot of money. And it's the track record speaks for itself. So professionalfanatics.com. Link in the description. Get over to the Patreon, hop in there. I will send you an invite to the Discord right away. Join the community. Join us. I know a lot of you guys have been on the show, watching the show for a while. You're not going to regret it because we release more football content than any other show out there. We have 7 different people coming on besides myself, giving you their opinion. Also, we value the opinions of you guys in the chat, in the Discord, and we can all learn and make money and win together. That's really the goal, Story.
My pappy says, do what you know. And I know booze.
What the fuck is that from?
That's Chappelle's show. When he's doing the was it Chappelle's show? I think so. When he's the Uncle Jemima and he's doing the Uncle Jemima's Match Liquor. Yeah. So,
dude, I was gonna upload the fucking player haters ball thing for this, but I didn't have enough room. I didn't want to take off anything. I know.
My point was, do what you know, and we know fantasy football. I think so.
Damn straight. And you know college football. No, we know so. We have 5 years of documented shit. This is the guy that was highest on Puka Nacua in fucking March before he was drafted. This guy right here, Mike Story, right here below me, right here, Mike Story,
below you. And
I was the guy lowest on Quentin Johnston, and you were high on him. So, sorry.
Yeah, it was a bad year.
I'm going to bring that up forever. I'm sorry, Story. You missed on one thing, and you know what? I'm going to make it. It actually not really selling my brand, saying that you're an idiot on the Quentin Johnson thing, but it evens out because your Puka Nacua thing made people money for years and years and years, and that year in particular.
If Carnell Tate wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, then the Quentin Johnson thing has to go away, okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. I will give you that one. All right. Dean says, I'm not sure what Trump's executive order does, though. That takes effect in August. Does that affect just freshmen? Is that the thing about they can come in the NFL earlier? Is that what that is?
No. So basically, it's an executive. They're trying to get back to the pre-NIL days. He signed an executive order to limit the ability for guys to transfer, and basically, like, there's a penalty of if you transfer after a certain date, you have to sit out for a year. And the team gets penalized. I don't know. I got to read it. I don't think it'll withstand legal scrutiny. Like, first of all, I don't think the NCAA cares that much. Like, if there's an organization in this country that has power to challenge the executive, it's the NCAA. Secondly, I don't think it'll withstand legal scrutiny. I don't want to comment on it just yet because it is set to take effect July 1st or August 1st. But there's going to be, like, I would wager to bet we see an injunction within the next couple of months.
All right, we'll get to the list. Guys, we only have 11 likes in this video, and there's 14 people in here. That makes no sense. There's a lot of ways to support the channel. Liking the video is the easiest way. Subscribing to the channel is the second way. And then also, Discord, Patreon, join the community. What the hell are you doing? Get more people in here. Spread the word, the good word, because these other people that are joining aren't going to be in your league. You don't have to worry about them taking all your guys. Blake, Stribling, first 2 years at Washington State, 2 years at Oklahoma State, 1 year at Ole Miss.
It was Oklahoma State, okay.
All right, one more question here, and then we'll get back to our list. Do you guys think Mendoza will work out in Las Vegas, or they need to draft another quarterback in 3 or 4 years?
I actually think he'll work out. It might be premature to say that, but with some of the moves that they've been making, or at least they've signaled that they want to make, they want to put a strong offensive environment around him. I do feel bad for Geno Smith, like what he came into after week 1 with an injured Brock Bowers, with a team that wouldn't prioritize giving Ashton Jetty the ball. The whole patronage thing with Pete Carroll's son, with 8 million-year-old Pete Carroll behind the helm. Chip Kelly's not even doing anything. He's not even calling plays. It was an absolute disaster of the system. I think now I'm not a huge fan of Mark Davis, but I think that the organization itself has learned some lessons. I think they're putting the right structure around, and I do think Mendoza will be successful. Is he going to be a top 6 quarterback in the league? No, he doesn't have the traits. He doesn't have the ability to do that. But as a regular starter, I think he will re-sign. He'll have at least a second contract with the Raiders and probably move on after that.
Dude, I went back and watched Elijah Surratt's film, and then I watched a lot of Mendoza, obviously, and I'm a little concerned. I think obviously in this class he's the number 1 overall pick. He's solid. My comp for him, it's Sam Bradford, and Sam Bradford wasn't number 1, but he was a number 1 overall pick. Injuries marred Sam Bradford's career, and he had a nice resurgence there with LA, with the Rams. That his arm angle, dude, I don't like his fundamentals. I think that his ball placement, his accuracy is great. It doesn't line up with his fundamentals, if that makes sense. And a lot of stuff, it's RPO, one step drop essentially from that shotgun. And the receivers are elite. Surratt and Omar Cooper, And it's a lot of three-quarter stuff. And I don't think that translates, man. He's got a lot to work on. And then nothing under center. He's not as surefire, ready to go as we might think. And the Kirk Cousins signing might be the reason that might be like what I'm saying.
Yeah, it could be that. There's no way he's not starting the year. So it's a sink or swim situation.
I agree.
I stopped caring as much about things like arm angle because of, look at Phillip Rivers, for God's sakes. I do agree mechanics are important. They need to be solid. You get the right environment, the right coaching around him. Those kinds of things can be coached. You can't coach things like courage, intelligence, processing speed, etc. Like,
oh yeah.
And I think he's 90% of the way there for that kind of stuff. So again, like he's not a Josh Allen level kind of talent, but he's a very solid talent. I wish we had more rushing upside, but his frame kind of takes away some of that.
The competitiveness makes his rushing upside viable because he's willing to fucking put his body on the line. And this is why I'm not going to say I don't like Mendoza, because everything you mentioned is 10 out of 10. The work ethic, the character, the competitiveness, the teammates, all those things, the intangibles are all 10 out of 10. But the other stuff does matter too, Story, and like that can only take you so far. So I'm just a little cautionary tale on Mendoza, and I think the Raiders, I like the situation there opposed to what it was last year. Tom Brady is pretty active there, even though he's a minority owner. And Clint Kubiak, although he had some issues there, they won the Super Bowl, and that was partially a big reason because of him. So, all right, we're going to get on to my number 4 here, and it is Garrett Nussmeier.
I can't believe it myself. I know. I'm so numb. I just hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
I love him.
You okay?
You hate him. We'll see what's up.
This is very similar to the Carson Beck thing about what I mentioned about the quarterback class. I know his 24 film was better. He was better in 24. They apparently had abdominal injury, and maybe that's the case, similar to Ty Simpson, second half being marred by those injuries and playing through it. The arm strength is just too bad. It's awful. It's not good. It's a 4 out of 10. And it takes a lot in the NFL to overcome that. He's not going to come in as a starter. I just think he's a journeyman. I get that there's a lot of stuff being the coach's son. There's some narrative stuff there. I think, as you know, my Mason Taylor love is just through the roof. And Mason Taylor's film, his last year at LSU, his numbers were inflated because he had Mason Taylor. I'm sorry, and it sounds crazy to say, but that dude's yak. It does, but that's my opinion. I don't like Garrett Nussmeier at all. Quarterback 3. What are we doing here? Like Garrett Nussmeier over Taylor Green? Garrett Nussmeier over Drew Aller? Absolutely not. Drew Aller's the youngest prospect in this draft at the quarterback. He's 6'5", 245. Like, I see the upside with those guys. They might flame out. I think they all have the same chance to flame out, but they have actual upside. Garrett Nussmeier's upside is a bad version of Andy Dalton. That's what this is.
Oof, that's a little rough. I watched yours and Mouth's breakdown of Taylor Green, and he's not a fan of Taylor Green. And I'm surprised that you would put Taylor Green over Garrett Nussmeier. That's a risky profile, right? Taylor Green's profile strictly because of the passing upside. Like in the NFL, like we care about rushing for fantasy. The NFL cares about it to extent, but certainly not like we do as fantasy players. So if a team doesn't see him as taking their team to the next level with the passing side of things, it could be a rough go. I'm a little, yeah.
What's the chance that Taylor Green becomes Lamar Jackson? Give me a percentage chance. It's not 0.
No, it's not 0, but dude, it's Lamar Jackson. Like
I know. I have a number in my head. I want to hear your number. What's your number?
10% chance.
That's exactly what I was saying. And that 10% chance at a 1 to 2 round discount from Nussmeier. What's Nussmeier's absolute ceiling? Give me a player comp. Let's think. It's not Drew Brees. Get the fuck out of here.
No, his absolute ceiling is Brock Purdy. And I know it's a little cliche these days to say that, but it's Brock Purdy or peak Kirk Cousins.
What are the percentage chances he becomes that? 30%?
Yeah, that sounds about right. 25, 30%. 1 and 4. 1 and 3.
The Brock Purdy comp's weird because Brock Purdy's Brock Purdy. And as much as I love Brock Purdy, because he's with Kyle Shanahan. Like, that's why Brock Purdy is why we're talking about Brock Purdy. If he was on the Raiders, we would be talking about Brock Purdy.
Well, then, like I said, high-end peak Kirk Cousins, right? Processing quickly.
Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton.
And Andy Dalton had his years in the league. Like when we go back and watch the video or the stream from 2 nights ago, I'm not saying that Garrett Nussmeier is going to take your team to the promised land, but like as a if he gets day 2 capital, he's a sneaky QB2 with upside.
I guess my thing is, I know Lamar Jackson, it's weird to rip on Kirk Cousins for his playoff success and Andy Dalton for flaming out in the playoffs and in big games, which both those guys and Kirk Cousins, especially the primetime stuff, was awful. Lamar Jackson's had a rough go of it in the playoffs, but he also has 2 MVP awards. Kirk Cousins is very good in the regular season, but one playoff win. I'm saying one playoff win. So the ceiling is just being a good quarterback. I don't care. I want to win championships. I want to win Super Bowls. And you're not winning it with Garrett Nussmeier. And Taylor Green might be out of the NFL. I get that. It could be Anthony Richardson 2.0. I understand all this. But I want the 10% shot when you're talking about a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick. Like that's you always mention luxury pick, right? It's a guy you're going to just sit there and he's going to marinate, and you're going to teach him. You just take him in the room with his tools, which are elite. We can't deny the tools. They're elite. And he's I don't know why we're talking about Taylor Green.
I don't know. Yeah, way off topic.
It's because Garrett Nussmeier is going ahead of Taylor Green by a lot, and that's why he's on my hate list. Quarterback 3, get the fuck out of town. Out.
Okay.
Get out.
That's fair.
Heat it up. Heat it up. All right. What do you got?
All right.
We're on to our top 3. We got a top 3 most hated players here.
Yeah. Well, mine's not because Carson Beck was one of my top 3. So this is top 4 for me because back in the day, this is 7. I'm gonna sling it right back at you. Guess who's coming out of South Carolina? Clemson University, Adam Randall.
Hey,
hate him.
No, dude, he's running back 19. That doesn't count. You can't say that.
Of course I can.
No. So you're saying he's not even an NFL player?
Yeah. I'm saying like the dude will flame out.
All right, I gotta take a pee, but I really do actually. But just talk and yeah.
All right, yeah, 6'3", 232. He's a senior. Spent all 4 years at Clemson. Just limited running back production. He did transition roles. We talked about that. He's a converted wide receiver, athletic. He's got a versatile skill set, but like this is a very projection heavy profile. He doesn't really have a running back resume and no role certainty at the next level. He's being valued, even at running back 19, he's being valued on trades versus production. I think he's like a tweener without clear usage, like what we saw, even a worse version of Tyrone Tracy. This is all projection. It's dangerous when the market gets aggressive. If they start seeing him as a versatile player, he could kind of sneak up draft boards. We haven't seen consistent production from it as a running back. You're basically guessing on his profile. So even at running back 19, there's very little that makes me think that he can be a producer at the NFL. It's not what I want to invest in, even at the lowest end, even in round 4 of fantasy rookie drafts. So if he gets a decent landing spot, he might have a role. But again, I'm not sure that there's anything to this guy's profile. From a fantasy
profile, there's a lot.
Okay. I mean, this is the type of guy that clogs your roster on dynasty leagues for years.
I'm about to clog your butt with this fucking goddamn. I don't know. I feel like that's not in the spirit of the exercise because like the guy I had that was that low. No, hold on. Desmond Reed was that low, but he's not an NFL player. Doesn't have an NFL body. This dude, if it works, is going to. He's got things that dreams are made of. They're made of these things. He's a converted wide receiver. He is a better version of Antonio Gibson. You disagree?
No, disagree 100%. Like, come on, a better version of Antonio. We forget how good Antonio Gibson was for those 2 or 3 years. Like, but Adam Randall will not ever come close to sniffing that in the NFL. So I think it's within the spirit of the exercise because I wanted to give some pushback on the Adam Randall love last night from 2 nights ago.
All right, I'll allow it. I disagree. Obviously, I love Adam Randall and the price point. It's a project. He's a project, but the difference between him and Antonio Gibson, and Gibson's more of a home run hitter with the 4.39, 4.40, and Randall 4.5, which isn't terrible for his size, but Randall's is an actual power back, and you mix a power back with elite receiver traits, considering he was a wide receiver. And I think he's a better wide receiver than Gibson was coming out, just based on his length, right? Like that's a profile we've never really seen. It's like he's AJ Dillon without the quads, but actually receiving prowess and actually powerful. I don't know. that we're gonna disagree on this one for a long time, and I can't wait to see this happen. Now, most likely you're gonna win this argument because he's RB19, and that's what you're doing. You're hedging your bets here. I don't appreciate it.
Fair. Who's your top 3?
All right, this one's definitely gonna cause a shitstorm. I think it's Jadarian Price, RB3.
Interesting. Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, RB3. I mean, he's gonna go in the early second round, and man, I watch his film. I talked about this before, and I just see a lot of 35-7 scores. And it's not like he's facing the backups, but he's facing Jeremiah Love's scraps, right? He just destroyed this defense. They're tired, they're gassed, they're on the field the whole game, and then there comes Jadarian Price. His measurables weren't what I thought they'd be. Like, his film looks better than, like, again, I'm always gonna side on the film. But I don't know what I'm watching, and it's just shades of Roschon Johnson, man. And I loved Roschon Johnson coming out of Texas. Just Bijan Robinson is Jeremiah Love, right? Roschon Johnson is Jadarian Price, and I don't understand what happened with the Bears and Roschon Johnson. He was hurdling guys left and right at Texas. I haven't seen him hurdle one guy in the NFL. I haven't seen anything out of Roschon Johnson. He couldn't beat out Kyle Monangai, a 7th-round pick. And Roschon Johnson's career's over. And Roschon Johnson was a 2nd-round pick out of Texas. And this is where Jadarian Price is going to go. I think the one advantage that Jadarian Price has with the new rules and everything, he's an elite kick returner. But, like, I don't give a fuck in fantasy and real. Like, that doesn't make it a good pick. You don't take a 2nd-round pick for being a good kick returner. And his passing game production is 0 because they didn't use him there. And can he transition into more of a guy that can take early downs as well as be receiving down back? But the fact he's 205 pounds, is that right? He's super small.
Yeah.
He looks bigger and he plays bigger.
Definitely plays
like
bigger.
That's super small. That's Emmett Johnson size. Sorry. He's Emmett Johnson size. And you think Emmett Johnson's a bum because he's slow. Well, Jadarian Price isn't much faster. So at least not in terms of testing.
I know Emmett Johnson's a bum.
Well, I know Evan Johnson. Is he on your list? If he's on your list, I'm going to murder you. So
yeah, no, he's not on my list. He's not on my list. But I get it. Like, we don't know what we're looking at with Jadarian Price, but it's also tough to knock the guy. That's like saying, we when a team is beating up on other teams that are terrible, like, you got a good schedule, you can only play the teams that are in front of you. Well, Jadarian Price can only do what's in front of him, and that's take advantage of the situation. We don't know if Jeremiah Love wasn't there or if Jeremiah Love got hurt, that Jadarian Price wouldn't have performed to this level. So it's I get it, but that's tough for me to wrap my head around to hate when we just don't know.
I get the potential. I get it. But why are we drafting a guy on potential that actually doesn't have like explosive measurements? And he doesn't have any track record in college. I mean, I know you said the numbers are fine. He scored a lot of touchdowns and limited carries, but they were beating up on cupcakes. Like, I believe what Notre Dame started off like 0-3 last year, 0-2. It was really rough. And they just started like destroying teams.
0-3. No way.
0-2 then. They were 0-2. They were 0-2. Yeah, they were 0-2 last year to start off, and they started destroying teams. And that's when all of the highlights of Jadarian Price, all the carries, all the touches, because it was Jeremiah Love when they were in close games. So yeah, I get the kick return stuff is fine. And if he goes to Detroit, I'm probably going to eat my words because he will be the David Montgomery there. It won't be Isaiah Pacheco, and I'll eat my words. But if he goes to just a team with a better established running back, and he just kind of sits there as an RB2, I don't see the path for him to see the field a lot because he's not a good pass catcher. And, like, obviously they're going to like the guy ahead of him better as a early down banger. So, like, he's such a tweener to me. And if he was running back 5 story, I wouldn't hate it. I haven't running back 6. It's not like I hate the guy. I just think in the second round, like, give me Emmett Johnson, give me Mike Washington, give me Nicholas Singleton all day over this guy. All day.
I don't dislike your trepidation when it comes to Jadarian Price. I take umbrage with the hate because, again, you're hating on a guy we just don't know. Without Jeremiah Love there, we don't know that Jadarian Price would not have performed to this level. So the potential is there. It's a risk for a team, but I think that's an upside risk worth taking for a lot of people. So I'm not. I agree with you. I would take Mike Washington and I would take Kaytron Allen. I keep saying that. Nick Singleton. Watch me draft Kaytron Allen in the.
And you take Emmett Johnson. You take Emmett Johnson over him.
I would not take Emmett Johnson over Jadarian Price. I would.
But my thing is, if I have him at 6 and he's at 3, that has to be on the list. You get what I'm saying? It's just like that's the exercise. Like, it's not that I hate him. I think that he has potential, and I Again, I loved Roschon coming out, so maybe I'm a little burned by that. And also, as a Bears fan, I got double burned, like DP'd on that one.
No,
But
I mean, he's a good player, but the market's probably pricing him closer to his potential ceiling than to the full range of outcomes. So you can find value in going the other way and fading these guys. I think you got to be careful fading somebody who could have that ability. If I'm wrong, if you're wrong on Jadarian Price, it's not because it's because he hit his ceiling outcome. But that's not a surefire thing. That's not even a majority of the time kind of thing.
All right, you have two guys in your list. Guys, I'm going to get to all your comments here after this list. I'm going to fire through this. Story has to travel tomorrow, so I want to get through this list. Give me your top two. These are guys that you absolutely hate. Is this correct?
Yeah, you might not like where this one is ranked either because of where this guy's going, but Eli Heidenreich out of Navy. He is the
wide receiver, right?
No, running back. But the steam on him is starting to get a little out of starting to get out of control for me. Yeah, so 6'0", 198, 220, age 22, 4 years at Navy, massive production in a option offense. So high efficiency, good vision, tough runner, but this scheme doesn't translate. This is a triple option. Navy doesn't throw the ball at all. The level of competition also extremely different when you're talking about Navy and those military academies. Limited passing game exposure. You expect a little bit more from him. This is heavily scheme driven. He is kind of steaming up draft boards right now. His role will be uncertain at the next level. The market is reacting to some of these raw numbers. This is the clearest example of overvaluing production without content or context. His numbers are huge, but they're coming in a very specific system. So when you strip away, you're left with a really uncertain projection. High risk without a whole lot of upside just because of the role that we saw him play in college. But again, I consider it a hate because of what we've seen recently in the last week or two with him moving up draft boards.
So you're saying not an NFL player, essentially?
Essentially, yeah, not an NFL player. There's not enough to his production, and especially you look at that size speed combo, it doesn't translate to the NFL. Like those kinds of traits, what he's shown at Navy, which again against the level of competition, leaves a lot to be desired.
Well, as you've said in the past, no notes because I don't know anything about this guy. So I've heard the steam, and there's still a couple of running backs I really want to dive deeper into, and a couple of guys I haven't looked at that could be. I want to do a segment with you that's deep gems, like really deep gems, that we want to find the next Puka Nacua. We want to find the next, undrafted guy possibly that Kyle Manung guys.
Right.
And that would be a guy I'd probably watch. And now I have a negative connotation towards him, so I'll probably hate him.
Go look, and let's circle back and let me know what you think when you watch this film.
Will do. Okay. My second most hated guy here, Jonah Coleman, RB2 on Draft Buzz. I don't understand how he's RB2. I'm going to start this conversation right now with this name, Braylon Allen Story, who we both love coming out of Wisconsin, one of the youngest prospects in the draft, a monster of a man. And I know the situation's not been great for Braylon Allen, but he has, we'll call it, flopped. And Braylon Allen is so much better than Jonah Coleman. It's not even funny. And then my comp for Jonah Coleman is A.J. Dillon, because A.J. Dillon is now Jonah Coleman's much more physical than A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon plays 20 pounds lighter than what he actually is. But the feet on A.J. Dillon are just atrocious. It's like, remember, have you seen LeBron's feet or Shaq's feet? They're just the toenails. Like that's the feet of Jonah Coleman. And I love his motor and all the RB2 though. Like no fucking way in hell. He's a bruiser. That's all he's ever going to be. He's Jordan Mason at best. A.J. Dillon, maybe Braylon Allen's his ceiling, but Braylon Allen is a fast motherfucker at his size. I still have hope for Braylon Allen. I think you might too.
I'm losing it. Yeah, I do. I want him. I don't know that I have hope, but I want him to be something in the NFL.
So Jonah Coleman's film's okay. 5'9", 220. I love that. 4.5 40 is okay. 10% arm length. Receiving game is nothing. It's fine. He's okay. Like if you want 4 yards in a cloud of dust, if you want to go line back, this is Jonah Coleman. RB2 in this class. I know it's not the best running back class, but I like the upside of the other guys later. That's just he doesn't do anything for me. I don't see any reason to draft him that
Price in terms of being the RB2 in this class, because I know it's
Price is RB3. It was Price earlier. Now it's they're like 2A, 2B. That's why I don't like either of these guys, because I like the guys later. I don't mind either of these players. Like, honestly, it's just where they're going to be, where they're projected to be drafted. And I like Jadarian Price much more than Jonah Coleman. That's why he's higher up in my list and more hate. Like, because I see the upside in Price, especially with the kick return stuff. I don't see anything with Jonah Coleman. He is literally an early down banger. In the NFL that doesn't like that. Yeah,
I mean, he could, like, the one thing that I could see is if he has a Raheem Mostert on the Dolphins type season, because he does score. They had 15 touchdowns or something like that last year. His production overall took a step back when you look at like the yards. He did up his receiving game that last year. The 350 yards receiving doesn't pique your interest at all.
What I saw was a guy that was literally like getting dump downs. Not even check downs, like dump downs, and there was nothing to it, which is all, it's a Derrick Henry thing. Like, if you just catch the ball, the difference is he doesn't do enough with the ball after he catches it. Like, he doesn't have the speed or lateral agility to make the guy miss. And he is powerful, but he's not that powerful. So I just don't. He's not going to be used that way in the NFL. So that's a moot point for me. It's literally a moot point. We saw Woody Marks, who's a pass catching back, get 18, 20 catches. Like, so certain, like, if they didn't value Woody Marks as a pass catching back as a guy they trusted in that, they're not going to trust Jonah Coleman. So what's the point of his like steady hands maybe that he's had and he looked better? Like, that, it's a moot point. I don't care. Fine rusher. Fine.
Point of order, it's moot point. MOOT, not mute point.
I said mute point, moot. What? You know what? Fuck. You know what, Story?
Just don't want you to look.
I've never seen so many dead hookers in all my life.
Lord knows I have.
I can remember a time.
Hey, look. There's Mitch on TV.
Oh, yeah. There's Mitch.
And there's the Saigon whore that bit my nose off!
One thing about Chris Farley is he never phoned in a role.
Oh, never. A lot of cocaine in that performance, especially. We have to get to our number ones, but JD, I'm gonna get to the comments above you guys in a second. Give me a couple minutes while I finish this. JD says Damon Claiborne. We talked about him earlier. Story, it was one of your hates.
It was.
Yeah. I also said he was gonna be one of my loves originally because I was like, oh, Devin A-Chain did it. Like, Simpsons did it. Like, just there's one Devin A-Chain, and it's not gonna be Damon Claiborne. And his pass catching stuff with his size was not as impressive as I thought it would have been. So, and you mentioned his top end speed. He was the guy that we said that had clearly like mastered the 40, but the 40 is not a real life NFL drill. And like on the field with the ball in his hand, he's a 4.45 guy, which isn't slow. He's not a 4.3 guy.
No, but yeah, go watch him in pads, like way different, like versus what we saw at the combine.
All right, Story. So we're both down to our guy we hate the most. Is this correct?
That's correct. I got one guy left, and I think this one is well within the spirit of the.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I gotta play this. I just gotta play this cutaway just because it's the best one, and this is just for our guys we hate the most.
I hate the way you talk to me and the way you cut your hair. I hate the way you drive my car. I hate it when you stare. I hate your big dumb combat boots and the way you read my mind. I hate you so much it makes me sick. It even makes me rhyme.
Julie Stiles.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Out of a little down south, Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson is my most hated player.
Fireballs!
This guy and I know that Mouth isn't going to like this, but this guy screams bust at the next level for me. 6'1", 211, 23 years old. Spent his entire career at Alabama in a good system, obviously, but limited full season production. We saw that. You guys talked about it. He did have flashes, but his consistency leaves a lot to be desired. Good arm talent, good mobility, okay, but he's not a huge rusher. But extremely small sample size, inconsistent processing power. His traits are what people look for, but that's better than production profile and what he's actually going to be able to put on the field. He's being priced very aggressively for my taste. Lack of high-end production at this level, which doesn't translate to the NFL level. I mean, there's a risk that he doesn't develop into a starter, period. He's getting a lot of buzz based on these flashes, but we haven't seen it. And when you're drafting quarterbacks in the NFL and in fantasy, that matters. You're betting on development, and the range of outcomes I don't think is as high as people expect, and I don't think it's as low as people are worried about. So for me, like, he's being drafted as the quarterback 2 in this draft class, and I've got him way lower, like quarterback 6 for me. He's a plus guy. Yeah.
I love it. I mean,
I think he
in
peaks.
between.
I think he has one season as a top 20 fantasy quarterback, and it's just because he comes in and fills in for a starter.
I have him at 2 still in this class, just because it's by default, right? Just because I do see the upside, but there's some Zach Wilson vibes here, and that's the problem. Because Zach, we went through on the. If you want to go back and watch, we did a whole. Me and Mouth did a 16-minute video. I put them on a videos on some of the quarterbacks. We did a pretty long thing on Ty Simpson, and it was I put a graphic up of all the quarterbacks that have this few of starts ever in their college career, and it's also passes thrown, and all the guys for the passes thrown in the top were like they were actually really good players, but they were all scramblers. It was Michael Vick, it was Cam Newton, it was guys like that, and he's not that. And the next wave of guys were your Mac Jones. It was gross. It was
your
disgusting.
Alex your Carson Wentz's is right.
There was nothing good, and there was like one guy that worked out there, and I love his aggressive nature. And the reason I'm not going to have him on my list, and again I have him at 2, and then I'm not even touching my list, I guess, is that the fact that he does keep his eyes up, that Mouse says. I do like that. He's aggressive, but it's the injury thing. It's the second half of the season. 20 touchdowns, 1 pick his first 8 games, 8 touchdowns, 5 picks the second half. And there was 3 injuries he was dealing with. So I think if I'm trying to get in the mind of him, and if I was going to the mind of Zach Wilson, it was like, I want to fuck all the Cougars, all the 45-year-olds. This is the mind of Ty Simpson, was like, you know what? I trust myself to play through these injuries. I don't have enough on film. I don't have enough experience. It's better for me to gut through this, and that also correlated with the running game going to shit, the entire offense going to shit, and it was a bad situation. Perfect storm of dog shit. You're really low on him, and I'm going to trust your opinion here. I don't love him, and I think that he's going to go way higher than he should go, even in this quarterback. Even if I have him at 2, I think he's a second-round player. I think he's in the Kenny Pickett realm, but he's going to go. Where's your upside in terms of the highest he could go? Because there's a chance someone takes him top 5, which is insane in this draft.
Yeah, I think it's not a certainty, but there's a lot of talk of him going top 10 right now, which I think is absolutely insane. So top 15 is, I think, a reasonable expectation. The Rams, where are the Rams at? You just put it. Okay, so 13. Yeah, they need the next heir apparent to Matthew Stafford there. The Jets, would it surprise you to see the Jets take him at 16 right there, or to see?
Dude, would it surprise you to see the Jets take him at 2 though? It's the Jets. We don't fucking know.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, right? But for me, him being the number 2 in this draft class, I can't wrap my head around it. I can't do it.
All right, you ready? This isn't my number 1, guys. This isn't my most hated player, because my most hated player was Chris Brazzell. We already talked about him. So this is my number 2 most hated player. It's Carnell Tate. I got to do it. I mean, I've been talking about it for a month. I put my money where my mouth is, and I don't hate Carnell Tate. I think Carnell Tate's going to be a fine NFL receiver. I think he's probably one of the highest floor players in this draft. Unfortunately, he's going to be a top 10 pick. Why? Because he's never been a number 1 in college. He's 190 pounds. He comps to T. Higgins, who's 225. I don't see him in the intermediate game at all. He has no experience doing that. He's terrible in yards after the catch. So he's a downfield merchant, which is fine. He's gonna be drafted high. He's gonna get a lot of opportunities. He's gonna be fine. I might love him in fantasy even, but to be a top 10 pick, I think he's fair as a top 40 pick. I think I have it at wide receiver 6. I think he's a good spot there. In this situation, top 10 pick, absolutely not. No way. No how. Done. Out. Gone. Dunzo. Don't like him. I hate him. I downright hate him, Story.
To be fair, you did move him up from wide receiver 8 that you had him at a couple of weeks ago. So
correct. And that was more because of the other guys. I like Chris Bell a lot, but he's going to pretty much give you nothing his rookie year because of ACL. And I didn't want to get too cute. He might end up at wide receiver 5, because for me, it's him and Skylar Bell. And do I really want to rank Skylar Bell ahead of Carnell Tate? Because Carnell Tate has such a leg up based on draft capital, and he's taller. But I truly believe that if you put Skylar Bell in that situation in Ohio State, he outproduces Carnell Tate. I truly believe that watching the film. But it's an uphill battle, and it's as much as I want to put my money where my mouth is and then rank these guys based on what I see. I also want to be right. Like, that's not a good battle of a UConn receiver versus Carnell Tate, who went to Ohio State in the history of Ohio State receivers. I guess my thing is Marvin Harrison. I know you're not the highest on Marvin Harrison's college film, but like, you're the only one in the world, and you didn't say it when it happened. I don't think you did. Marvin Harrison had way better college film than Carnell Tate. And Marvin Harrison has really struggled, and you can blame Kyler Murray, you can blame Drew Petzing, you can blame Marvin Harrison for his
I blame Marvin Harrison.
His laissez-faire and like chill attitude, right? And drops. But I'm in college, Marvin Harrison was a can't miss prospect, and he's missed. He's the one guy that's really missed in this Ohio State group. But watching Marvin Harrison struggle in the NFL, I promise you he's a better prospect than Carnell Tate. And I know maybe this is a one-off, and maybe there's other things going on there, but I don't hate Carnell Tate. I just hate where he's going. And like the fact he's a top 10 pick, I get the safety, but you don't take a top 10 pick to be a safe, like my comp for him is Marvin Jones, good NFL receiver. What do you mean? Marvin Jones had multiple 10 touchdown years.
Carnell Tate's better than Marvin Jones.
Is he?
I mean, go back and watch the tape on Friday. I think you're going to regret missing out on more Carnell Tate. The guy's got everything you want to look for in a wide receiver at the NFL level.
I might be drafting him if he goes in the proper spot where he gets drafted and where he's drafted in fantasy.
If he gets steamed up to the 4th round in redraft.
Ooh.
I mean, that's where Marvin Harrison was being drafted last year, or his rookie year.
No, Marvin Harrison was a 1st-round pick his rookie year.
Was he really?
Yeah, dude.
Jesus. Well, then, all right, I'm mixing up years. Then he was a 4th-round pick last year, right?
Last year was a 4th-round pick. It was,
damn. If he gets steamed, like, I think people need to learn their lesson on some of these rookies. You still got to transition to the NFL, but I think he's going to come in, and I think he's going to produce quickly. So I'm loving it. But we talked about it on Friday to length. So the one to trust feels a little less trusty this evening, but we did have a couple guys on our list, the same guys on our list.
I want to just say this. This is not a Quentin Johnson situation for me when I had Quentin Johnson as a 3rd-round NFL draft pick grade. Like, this is not that low. Like, I just knew he was a project. I'm not saying Carnell Tate's a project. I'm saying that Carnell Tate's upside he's not a number 1 receiver in the NFL. And that's my issue. Like, you don't draft a guy top 10 to be a number 2. It's a waste of a draft pick. And someone else will probably benefit from that when he's, not signed on his 5th-year deal and they get him, and he's a fine player. Marvin Jones was a fine player story. It's just Marvin Jones, if he was drafted top 10 in the NFL draft, he'd be like, he was a bust. Okay. If Marvin Jones at 40 overall in the NFL draft, it's a hell of a pick. Carnell Tate will be a hell of a pick, even end of the 1st round. I'll give you that. Not a top 10. And that's, we're going to see who's right. And that's the beauty of this show. And this is what we like to do. And, all you're talking up of Carnell Tate has made me move him up a little bit. And I do respect your opinion. I respect, new information, man. I'm willing, but like, unfortunately the film is a film and the hands are awesome. He's safe, good kid, like a lot of good things. The elite traits are not there at all. And you give me this. I see more body catches than you do. Maybe I'm qualifying body catches differently than you.
I think you saw a couple of body catches and you said this guy is trash at the NFL level. But
I never saw Malachi Fields ever make one of those.
I respect sticking to your guns here. We will see. We will reconvene at the end of the year and see. Maybe it'll be earlier. We don't know. We thought it was earlier with the next Puka, and then he fell off the face of the earth.
I'm gonna laugh when I'm all about him for this next year based on landing spot and or draft, like fantasy draft capital or both. Like, and that's the thing is that we could change our opinions. I'm just telling you what I see right now, and there's all I can judge is that right now. I can't judge, like the depth chart of where he goes in the NFL. I can't judge the coach he's getting paired with the quarterback. I can't judge those things. So I'm just telling you as a player. I don't hate the player. I hate where he's going. That's the thing, so.
Be prepared. I'm gonna victory lap when he goes 5 for 80 and a touchdown in week 1.
I'm gonna victory up, and Adam Randall has 1,000 yards all purpose and fucking 9 touchdowns, bitch. All right, Story, I gotta get you out of here. I'm gonna get to the comments here, guys. I never leave before I get out to every comment. Story, safe travels, man. I'll be in touch with you. Appreciate you coming on. Great list. Next time you come on,
next weekend,
we're gonna do deep gems. We're gonna do deep gems next time you come on, whenever that is, and I'm gonna go really deep.